which is an apt statement because I'm a fantastic man, but I am Joshua Witek, Michael's older brother, and here we go. I wrote something, so I'll pull that out real quick. Why do you look so concerned? Michael is my brother, and he is a wonderful man. I've had the privilege of knowing him for 27 years. He is kind, smart, reverent, just a fantastic all-around person. And Mike, could you come up here and read what you wrote here? For real though, this is a wonderful time to be together and celebrate the union of Michael and Candice. And at this time, if anyone did bring someone special, I would like you to look at that person at this time. Stare, for real, this is not a joke. Understand it. This is exactly what you are, is what Candice and Mike are now becoming. And as you look at this person, I want you to realize that statistically they're the most likely person to murder you. Men by your wives by a fascinatingly large margin. For real though, Mike is my brother, and really I couldn't say that I have a better younger brother. I couldn't ask for one. I really wouldn't want one because he is the brother that I have. All of the life experiences that we have together are just fantastic. And a little bit on brotherhood, like, it can be a lot of things. It can be competition. It can be like growth within each other. Basically just awesomeness. I'll put it that way. But I'll just go through a brief history of like our growth as brothers. So my first time meeting Michael was, I don't know the exact date, but it was a short time after his birth in 1988. We were at the hospital, and Dad had taken me to the nursery, and we were there, and I'm assuming at this point it may have been like feeding time, so they were all a little antsy, and all of them were crying. Every single one. And as a little kid, you don't really understand what's going on, so I was looking at the little babies, not really understanding, and then I was looking at my dad. I love my dad. And then I'm looking at the crying babies, and I'm looking at my dad, and I'm looking at the crying babies, and I'm like, you are crazy if you think we're bringing one of these things home. Unfortunately, they didn't listen to me, so he came home, and he hung out with us, and it was fantastic, I tell you, having a younger brother. You are so worried, Mike. Shh. So, I learned several things. Our sisters are much older than us, so I was kind of like a remix of the first child, so I had to relearn how to share, because my 13-year-old sisters didn't care about my trucks, so I didn't have to share them with them. But I had to share them with my younger brother. So I had to show him where he sat in the totem pole. So we were out playing in front of the house, which happened to be next to a pasture, and yes, Michael. There was a fence out by the pasture. We were out playing, and I was like, hey Mike, there's this really cool thing that I learned the other day. If you go over to the fence and tinkle on it, it's really cool. Like, it gives you this really fun sensation. And he did. And we ended up about 10 minutes later back at the house. Michael was white as a ghost. And Mom was like, what the heck happened to Michael? I didn't know what happened. But at that point, I showed him in the hierarchy that I'm your older brother, you will heed me, and I will relentlessly tease you forever. Shortly after that same time, though, Michael showed that he was a very strong-headed individual, and when he got something in his mind, he didn't care about anybody else or any logic. He was just going to do it. This had happened. My sisters were gone on a trip, and they had come home at night, and I perhaps may have gotten a little scared in the middle of the night and went into their room to sleep in their room to feel more protected. At this time, though, Mike was still in our room alone. So he woke up in the morning and had no idea where everyone was. He assumed that Mom had gone to work, Dad was at work, Carrie and Christy are obviously wherever they are. I am home alone. So without checking a single other room in the entire house, Michael decides, I'm going to go visit the neighbors. So Mike, in his pajamas, footy pajamas by the way, really cute, little trunks on. He gets out and walks down our about quarter-mile driveway onto the gravel road during the summer, during which time there are many gravel trucks driving up and down it quite regularly. And he walks all the way down across a bridge to a creek and just walks into the neighbor's house. Does not knock, does not ring the doorbell, just like, hi, I'm Mike. And our neighbor was quite confused because they're like, I know you, Michael. Where is everyone else? So the neighbor calls my mother, who then calls my sisters furiously about why they have let my younger brother walk approximately a mile by himself on an active road. So Michael is a very strong-willed individual. I hope you understand what you're getting yourself into, Candice. I think you do, because I've been around you the last 3 days and I see his strong-headedness already in him. So, but it wasn't all about like teaching Mike the hierarchy and things like that. It was about like teaching Michael actual things. And at one point there was a picture that was going to be taken by our sisters of my brother and I, and they wanted us to give a thumbs up. Which seems really understandable. There are 5 fingers on your hand, there is 1 thumb on each hand. A thumbs up means you put that thumb up in the air. That is not what Michael understood. So what Michael understood was your pointer finger goes up in the air and then you just like do the cha-cha. And we were trying to take the picture and every time I'd be like, Mike, no, here. Fold your hands down and just stick this finger up, like trying to be a cool older brother. And he would do it. And as soon as Carrie and Chris would be ready to take the picture, he'd switch it and point. So even during my times of trying to teach Michael things, he was extremely hard-headed. I love you, Mike, I really do. But we grew up and we moved across the street, well, maybe not across the street, but we moved several miles and stayed on the same road because that's how small our hometown is. And we ended up waiting at an intersection to go to school every day. And this story is going to be about how I saved Michael's life. So we were waiting for school in Wisconsin, which is where we are, in winter. So there was a lot of snow on the ground, and obviously very treacherous for drivers. And we were sitting there waiting in our file line, because that's what they teach us in grade school, stand in the file line, and just smacked if you stand out of the file line. So we're standing in the file line, not in the intersection itself, but on the lesser traveled road. And one of our neighbors was coming in and was coming too fast into the curve and could not turn. And all they could do was just continue on straight ahead, which at that angle was to continue barreling straight at us. And I, selflessly, without thinking of my own safety at all, grabbed my brother by the book bag and ripped him back and watched the vehicles slam into the snowbank approximately 3 feet in front of us. So that is the story of how I saved my brother's life.
You're a hero.
That being said, for many, many years past that, our mother never let us stand on that stupid road waiting for the bus to go to school. She's like, you are standing on the grass until you see the bus, and then you'll run out to it. So, apparently there has been rumors that there's a story out there about how my brother simultaneously also saved my life. But because he's not giving a speech today, that is completely false and inaccurate. So we will continue on in understanding brotherhood. This is really what we're doing here. Yes, there was a time where Mike did teach me things too, though. It's not just a one-way street. Younger teaches older, older teaches younger. And my brother, during Easter, had decided that he was going to voice where every single Easter basket was, no matter whose it was, for 3 years straight.
I'm the winner.
Yeah, you're the winner, all right, bud. It was quite horrendous because he would run around and be like, oh, Josh, Brother Josh, here's your Easter basket. Which I hated because I love challenges and searching for things. So for 3 years straight, I didn't get that challenge, and it was quite horrifying to me. Almost brought tears to my eyes. But there are also really pivotal moments in brotherhood that shape you and change how everything is. And that started with a shotgun shell. So I had reloaded a few shotgun shells, and one of them had been laying out. And my brother, in his wisdom, was like, I'm going to check out what is inside of this. So he just cuts the shotgun shell open, like wide open. And doesn't even like throw it away or anything after he's done examining it, or whatever little brothers do to everything that they break of yours. So my friends and I were hanging out, and one of our other friends found it. He was like, hey, what is this? What is this broken shotgun shell? And it just lit something inside of me, because I knew it was the shotgun shell that I had reloaded. And I knew there was only one person in the household that would ever touch my stuff and break it. And that was Michael. So I instantly lunged at him and started to pound on him like brothers are supposed to do, especially older brothers. And he had gotten away. So I chased him, because that's what you're supposed to do. If he gets away, you continue to chase him until you can catch him and feed him some more. So he makes it into the hallway in our house, and I'm coming around the corner. And as I'm coming around the corner, we see our loving father at the other end of the corner. Now, those of you who don't know my father, he's, aside from being the most wonderful father that I could have ever asked for real, he is a truly and honestly loving man. And part of what Mike and I see as love is obviously what we have gained from our father, because he has showed us what love truly is. But back to the story. My loving father comes around the corner, but there is no love in his face when he rounds that corner at the other end. In his eyes are fierceness that I and my brother have never seen, because our father punishes us with candy bars. That's a funny family joke. So he meets Michael first, obviously, because Michael is in the lead. Grabs him, puts him up against the wall. And I can't stop myself because I'm running full bore trying to catch Michael and also run into the grasp of our father. And our father raised us up against the wall and explained to us about what brotherhood truly is, and about how no matter what you think you have, you will never truly know what you have until you lose it. And it was in slightly stronger words and much more pointed, but it set something off inside of us. where it was no longer about beating each other and running each other rampant and just hatred. It changed everything about our brotherhood. It showed us love. Because in all of that love, even that anger that our father had, there was love. Now for a slightly funnier story. Lessons again, older to younger. My brother was slightly rambunctious as a child, and he set forth upon himself to drink. Which is whatever, some people do that. But he was not of age per se. And I had come home from my job, which I had worked approximately 8 hours, third shift, and I was just dead tired. And I walk in and I see my brother's friend, Kenny, laying on the porch. And I'm like, well, that's really weird. It's like 6 a.m. What is Kenny doing laying on her porch? And as I walk up, I'm like, hey, Kenny, what's going on? And he's like, oh, yeah. It is quite apparent that he's drunk. So I'm like, well, Kenny, I don't know what you're doing, but you need to get yourself inside, because, like, that's not going to end well for you. So I continue on, and I make it to the bathroom, where I find my brother, half hung over the toilet seat, also drunk. I was a little kinder to my brother, though. I was like, Mike, you do understand what Dad's going to do when he finds you, right? Like, he's going to break every limb in your body, and then he's going to kill you. And I let him know that, but I also didn't help him either, because a boy's got to learn. So I showered, went about my way, and went to bed. Our father found him, and as I recall, the first words that he recalls from his craziness is Mom saying, "Oh my God, is he dead?" And then the voice of our loving father, again with not so loving words, "No, he's drunk." Mike was obviously very strong-headed. That's obviously what all of these stories are coming about. But really what this is about, again, is Mike and Candice. And it was real poignant for me. After I got married to my wife, Jessica, my brother called me up not too shortly after that. And he was like, we gave the small talk for a while, and then he said, "Josh, I need to tell you something." And I was like, sure, whatever, because we've become true loving brothers. I was like, what's up? What's going on? And he told me, I want what you and Jess have. Like, truly and honestly, he said that. He was like, I see how much love you guys have for each other, and I just want that for myself. Because my brother was going through a really dark time in relationships, as we can sometimes do. But it just struck me that he was so happy for me that he knew exactly, like he saw such happiness in myself when I found my wife, that he wanted exactly that for him. And I have to say, Candice, he found it in you. He really did.